Okay, we're going to continue to doing this. Listen to the recording. Notice how the words are linked together, and notice the pronunciation of to. We are, we're, we are planning to, we are planning to have a party.
Party.
Okay, we are going to put the recording, and you are going to listen and practice the pronunciation. Okay, I'm going to put here. Okay, let's go to listen and practice.
CD2, Module 6, Recording 1. We are.
Repeat.
We are.
We are.
We're.
Next, we're.
Where?
Where?
We're planning to.
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 We're
We're planning to have a party.
Repeat.
We're
Planning to have a party.
Excellent. We're planning to have a party.
We're planning to have a party.
Excellent. Let's continue what you are.
You are.
You are.
You are.
You're.
Your.
You.
You're. You're going to.
You're going to.
You're going to.
You're going to.
To. It's not you're going to, right? It's you're going to.
You're going
You're
to.
going
You're
to.
going to.
You're going to. Going to see your mother.
You're going.
You're going
You're
to.
going to see your mother.
See your mother.
Excellent. He would.
He would.
He would.
He would.
He would.
He would. He would.
He
He
would.
would.
He would. He would.
He'd.
He'd.
He'd like to.
He'd like to.
Like to.
He'd like to.
He'd like to.
He'd like to. Excellent.
He'd like to.
Excellent.
He'd like to go to Dublin.
He'd like to go
He'd
to
like to
Dublin.
go to Dublin.
He'd like to go to
He'd like to go
Dublin.
He'd like to go.
to Dubai.
Excellent, students. It sounds great when you are speaking, when you are saying the English language. Let's continue with I would.
I would.
I would.
I would.
I would. I would. I would.
Excellent.
I would.
Now,
I'd.
Nice.
I'd.
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 I'd rather.
I'd rather.
I'd rather.
Okay, British English is I rather, but the American
I'd
English,
rather.
I rather. I rather.
I rather.
I'd
I
rather.
rather. I rather.
Yeah.
Rather. I'd rather go by train.
I rather go
I'd
by.
rather to go by train.
I rather go by train.
I'd rather go.
I'd rather go by train.
Excellent.
I'd rather go by train.
Okay, let's go to the next part. So remember that we are planning to. You're going to hit like to. Yes, we are planning to have a party. You're going to see your mother. He'd like to go to Dublin. I'd rather go by train. Let's go with the next part. This is I am planning to go abroad. Let's go to listen and repeat.
Module 6, Recording 2. A. I'm planning to go abroad.
Repeat.
I'm planning
Planning to go abroad.
Go abroad.
I plan to go abroad.
What is it abroad? No in Spanish. What is it abroad? No in Spanish.
Abroad.
What is it this? What's the definition, the concept of abroad?
I don't know.
Abroad is that, for example, other country, no Bolivia. For example, Peru, Chile, United States, Spain, Thailand is abroad. I am planning to go abroad. Okay, other country, el extranjero.
Exterior.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay, let's continue with the next one. She's going to find a job.
She's going
She's
to
going
find
to
a
find a
job.
job.
a job.
She's going to find a job.
She's going to.
Extranjera.
She's going to find a job.
Going to find a job.
She's going to find a job.
Find a job. Yes, she's going to find a job. Find. Let's continue with next one.
C. We'd rather stay at home.
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 Rather.
We'd rather stay at home.
We'd rather stay at home.
Excellent.
D. We'd like to pay now, please. We'd like to pay now, please.
We'd like to pay now, please.
We'd like to pay now, please.
We'd like to pay now, please.
Now, please.
Excellent, Maribel. Excellent. Aime. Yes, we'd like to pay now, please. Yes. With this, we have finished this part. I am planning to go abroad, right? When we want to express intentions or wishes, deseos, you say, I am planning to go abroad, or she's going to find a job, or we'd rather stay at home. We'd rather, remember that this is preferiríamos.
Mm-hmm.
We'd rather stay at home, and we'd like, nos encantaría, we'd like to pay now, please. Okay, these are intentions or wishes. Okay, let's continue with the next part.
Module 6.
Okay, page 54. Let's go to work on page 54. Okay, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Excellent.
Yes.
Okay, here we have vocabulary and speaking holidays. We're going to learn about for example, the weather. Examples about the weather. Can you tell me some examples of weather?
Summer.
Rain.
Hot. Winter. Cold.
Rain.
Yeah.
Rain.
Cold, winter.
Rain.
Rain.
Hot.
Hot.
Summer.
It's raining.
It's raining. It's foggy.
Sunny.
It's sunny.
Cloudy. It's sunny.
Summer.
It's windy.
Windy.
Yes. What's the question with when we are using weather? Do you remember? When we want to know what the weather, what's the question that we use?
How is the weather? It's good.
What's the weather like? What's the weather like? That means. For example, today, what's the weather like? I think so. It's a little bit cold or cool. What do you think?
Or hot. The
Maybe,
weather is hot.
yes. If you are in your house, maybe with a lot of lights, maybe it's hot. But if you are outside your house, maybe it's cold, right? What's the weather like? Okay, which of these are most important to you on holiday? For example, when you go to other country, for example, Iquique, I know, Asunción, Brazil, which of these Uyuni are most important to you on holiday? Discuss these questions in groups. Maybe we cannot work in groups right now, so I want to that you can, okay, you can put numbers from 1 to 9, for example. What's the most important thing when you go on holiday? For example, the weather is very important for you, put number 1. Or the nightlife, la noche nocturna. This is the most important for you, put 1. Or shops, number 2. Which of these activities are the most important for you when you go to another country or when you are on holiday?
The food.
Okay, Sergio Alejandro said the food.
Sightseeing, culture.
Sightseeing and culture. Yeah.
Yes. Who you go with?
Who you go with, Maribel, okay?
And the weather for me, because if I will go to ¿cómo se dice playa? Beach?
Beach.
And it's very cold.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't can't entrar a la playa. ¿Cómo se dice?
Okay, go inside the beach, or I don't want. I cannot inside the water, or I can't swim, for example, right? Okay, good, Hans. Rafael, what's the most important thing for you when you go on holiday?
For who?
Rafael, which are the
Okay.
most important things?
I think the most important is the weather. It's important the food too, the culture. I think the three.
Okay, these 3 things are very important for you: the weather, the culture, and the food. You don't have any problems with the nightlife, shops, and who go with you? No problems. Okay,
Who
what
you go
about?
with? Yes, of course.
Of course. Okay, yes, it's very important. Yeah. Okay, Maribel Tapia, which are the most important things for you?
For me, is who you go with, the first,
Okay.
and food, 2, and the scenery, finally.
Okay, excellent. What about for you, Aime?
I think the most important for me is who you go with, the nightlife, and the shops.
Okay, Denise and Machuy, which are the most important things for you when you are on holiday?
The most important, the weather, the food, the nightlife.
The nightlife, okay. Delina, what are the most important things for you?
For me, the most important, the food, the nightlife.
Okay, the food and the nightlife. What about you, Edmi? Which are the most important things?
Hi, teacher. For me, the most important is the weather and the accommodation too.
Okay, yeah. You need a hotel, or you prefer to go to a house?
The house.
A house, you prefer a house, okay, but...
A house, yes. Yes.
Okay, good. Fabiola Valdivieso, what about you? Or how about you?
The most important for me is the weather, and who you go with, the accommodation, and other maybe the money.
Money, okay, here, yes, it's very important, money, because if you don't have enough money, maybe you are going to suffer, all right? Okay, Hasiel Giron, what about you? Where are you, my friend Hasiel? Are you in Sucre or are you in Tarija?
Hi, teacher, in Tarija.
Are you in Tarija right now? What's the weather like in Tarija right now?
It's good.
It's cool, it's hot, or it's cold?
It's cold.
Okay, which are the most important things for you on holiday?
I think the most important is the weather and the food.
Okay. Do you prefer national food, or sorry, do you prefer to eat, for example, chicken, roasted chicken, or do you prefer to eat the typical food on this place, for example?
I prefer typical food.
Okay, good. Leila, what about you? Which are the most important things when you go on holiday?
I think that are the scenery and who you go with.
Okay, no, there is no problem with accommodation, nightlife, shops. There aren't
No,
important.
no teacher.
Okay, good. What about you, Mauricio Hidalgo?
The food and the culture is very important to me, teacher.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's continue with the next part, and we are going to talk about what can you see here in the photos? Do they show positive or negative things about holiday? For example, here, where is it? Where this photo was taken?
An airport.
Airport?
An airport, right? And when you see this, it show you a positive feeling or negative?
Negative.
Positive.
Maybe for them, maybe it's positive, or yes, because they are sleeping and they are dreaming, they are taking a rest. But for us, maybe it shows us a negative appearance, right? Or what do you think?
I think it's bad sleeping in this position.
Yes. Maybe they are not comfortable. They are uncomfortable. Yes. What about here? Can you see, when you see this photo, it shows you positive or negative things?
Positive.
Positive.
Just now or negative?
Maybe you say positive because everybody is enjoying the beach, maybe, but negative because many people are here, or I don't know. It can be both things, positive and negative at the same time, right? Or do you like to go with a lot of people in the beach?
I think the less, the better.
Okay, I message that less is better, right? Yes, I think so, the same as you. What about this picture? Is it a dream for you, or do you prefer crowded places with people, or do you prefer to be alone here? It shows you positive or negative?
Positive.
Positive.
Positive, right? Imagine you are here in this place with your boyfriend or with your girlfriend or with your wife or your husband.
It's a nice place.
Eating some barbecue here. I know. Yes, it's beautiful.
Do it at camping.
Yes. And nobody's there. No animals, no babies, and other people. Okay, let's continue with the exercise number 2. Read the extracts and check the meaning of the words and phrases involved in your mini dictionary if necessary. Write P if the extract comes from a postcard or email, write B if it comes from a holiday brochure. Do you know what's a brochure, right?
No.
Brochure is like you receive, right, a picture with some information about the trip, and you see the brochure and say, oh, Hawaii, excellent. Oh, it's beautiful. What about the food? Oh, excellent. You can eat many things, and you change. And the cost is here. The brochure is that, okay?
Folleto?
That's right, yes, brochure. So, for example, here I am sitting in the warm sunshine with a cool drink watching. Does it come from a postcard, right? For that reason, it's example P. What about a short walk from the city center? This luxurious hotel has 400 rooms. Postcard or holiday brochure?
Holiday brochure. Holiday brochure.
B.
Okay, yeah, a short, so you put B, brochure. Trouble is you have to queue for ages for the most popular. Brochure or poster email?
What is the meaning of kiwi?
Queue.
Q.
Queue is when, for example, when you need to take a bus, you have to do a queue. For example, in Hernando Siles Avenue, in the evenings when you want to go to the, I don't know, maybe Santo Domingo, Yuraj, you need to do a queue with other people waiting for a bus to carry you to those places.
Mm-hmm.
A short walk from the city center, this luxurious hotel has 400 rooms. This is brochure. Trouble is you have to queue for ages for the most popular postcard. There is absolutely no nightlife and absolutely nothing to do here except postcard. Unfortunately, our flight was delayed for 3 hours, so we had to sit postcard. Or if you prefer self-catering accommodation, there are comfortable brochure. There are plenty of excursions where you will have the opportunity to visit brochure. Has spent most of his time in the swimming pool, which is okay, but I'd like to postcard. The beach is so crowded, you have to get there very early in the morning if you, this is postcard. You can enjoy the peaceful and relaxing atmosphere of this beautiful old seaside town, brochure. And I have always wanted to go on a cruise, so we decided to get away for a couple of weeks. Postcard. There is also a discount of 5% if you book your holiday online with us. Brochure. Okay. Next part. Put the words and phrases in bold into the following categories. Ideal holiday, for example. Which things you can put in the ideal holiday? Weather, nightlife, luxurious hotel, awful holiday, money. Okay. Yes, complete this part with the ideas you have.
Okay.
And maybe you can use self-catering accommodation, excursions, swimming pool. Maybe crowded is awful holiday. When the beach is so crowded, or not sure, for example, the flight was delayed, awful holiday can be. Okay, who wants to share the information you have? Delina, do you want to share your information? What's the ideal holiday, the awful holiday? I'm not sure either. Okay, Delina, read your answers.
Good weather.
Hans? Okay, good weather is ideal holiday. What else?
For me, the attractions of from the place, the people, the weather. Yes, that's
Excellent. What about awful holiday? What things can be here?
also the weather.
The weather.
The service, servicio sería servicio, service, ¿verdad?
Yes, okay, the service in the airport, in the hotel.
The service in the hotel, in the airport, and in restaurants, for example.
Okay, what about not sure or it doesn't matter, no importa, you are not sure?
Not
Swimming
sure.
pool, for example, is it important, swimming pool or no?
I don't know. I think
Is ideal for you to have a swimming pool or not sure?
Not sure.
Not sure, okay. Fabiola Valdivieso, what about you? Fabi. Okay, let's continue with Fernando Castillo, Paul.
For me, beautiful scenery and ideal holiday.
Okay.
The weather and awful holiday, for example, it's raining. Nice life is not sure.
Okay, good. What about for you, Rolando Alex?
For me, is the accommodation and the service.
Is the ideal holiday if you have a good accommodation, good service, what else? Swimming pool.
Yes, the weather, the food. Nothing.
Talking about awful holiday.
Awful holiday. The cost.
Okay, the cost. Is it very expensive? So it's awful.
Yes.
I'm not sure.
Not sure. I I don't know. Shops. I
Okay,
think.
no problem. Okay, let's continue with Carla Daniela Espada.
Price.
For me, in ideal holiday is the days is clear and fresh and a comfortable place. And awful holiday, the tourist places full and not sure is the nightlife.
Okay, thank you. Jetsi Flores. What about Jetsi?
Yes. Ideal holiday.
Yeah.
Good food.
Good food.
Out for holidays. Quick o lleno de gente, como sería?
Crowded.
Crowded.
Crowded places.
Ajá. No. Yes.
Okay, not sure.
No. Nightlife.
Sergio Calimán.
Ideal holiday are good weather, good places to visit, and food, good food. And full holiday are bad weather and expensive place to hotels.
Yes. Not sure.
I don't know.
Okay. What about Rina Alejandra Holguín?
Teacher, ideal holiday, the weather, a good sunny day, the food, yeah, como accommodation, a full holiday, the días lluviosos, teacher, how do you
A
say?
rainy day.
Rainy day. I'm not sure either can be the nightlife.
Nightlife, okay. What about you, Lourdes Villegas?
For me, my ideal holiday is the most important is the scenery and the peaceful and to be relaxed, and the awful holiday for the queue and that the place is so crowded and no nightlife.
Okay. Nisel Zárate.
Michelle Zarate.
Yes, teacher.
You, what's the
for me,
ideal holiday?
for me, on the beach with few people, or a full holiday is crowded in the beach. On the beach.
Not sure.
Not sure.
Nothing? Or swimming pool? Or nightlife?
Not sure. but yes.
Okay, Marcelo Lopez. Okay, Marcelo is not there. Okay, let's, here we have some examples of can be. For example, an ideal holiday can be a luxurious hotel, a swimming pool, can be peaceful, relaxing. An awful holiday that you have to do a queue, or your flight is delayed, for example, or crowded, the places are crowded, for example, the beach or the streets are crowded, and it can be awful holiday. I'm not sure, maybe no nightlife can be, or self-catering accommodations, excursions, go on a cruise, or book online. You are not sure with this. Okay, the exercise number 4, you are going to do this in the eCampus. You are going to write a composition about a holiday you have that it was either very good or very bad. Can be, you're going to write a composition about your holiday. Use some of the phrases in the exercise 2. You can say luxurious, queue, nightlife, maybe your flight was delayed, or safe catering accommodation. Okay, you are going to do this in a forum in the eCampus, okay, as a homework. Okay, let's continue with the next part. Okay. Listen and speaking. Let's go to work on the page 55. Page 55. We're going to listening and speaking. The whole day from hell. How can you translate this expression? The whole day from hell. What can be this in Spanish?
Las vacaciones del infierno.
Yes, yes, Las Vacaciones del Infierno. So this title expresses that expresses to us that it was a bad holiday, right? Okay, here we have, for example, the brochure of the hotel or the website. The website, for example, when you go to a website of the hotel, you can see some characteristics that you can find in the accommodation. For example, here, luxurious hotel close to beautiful sandy beach, 3 swimming pools, tennis, golf, and water sports. So attractive, right? 3 beach bars and first-class restaurant. Average temperatures 28 to 30 degrees Celsius. Average temperatures. So it's similar, maybe like Santa Cruz, 30 degrees. Average hours of sunshine per day, 8 to 9 hours. Flying time approximately 8.5 hours from London. Airport just 15 minutes by bus from the hotel. Yes, maybe if you can see this website and you can see this picture and you say, wow, it's beautiful. I want to go there one day to visit and stay maybe 1 week or 2 weeks. But here we're going to listen a couple, Mark and Rosa, and they're going to tell us about the holiday. Last year, Mark and Rosa saved up and booked their dream holiday in the Caribbean. Read what they read on the hotel website above. Yes, we have read before. Working pairs, student A and student B act out the following conversation. Okay, you are Mark or Rosa. Tell a friend about the holiday you are planning. You can invent extra details. And student B, you are Mark Rosa's friend. Ask about the holiday. Where are you planning to go? Where? What's the hotel like? And how long is the journey? For example, we want to do a conversation between Rafael and Maribel, okay? Okay, Rafael is going to be Mark and Maribel is going to be a friend. And you can, Maribel, you can do these 3 questions to Rafael, and Rafael can talk about with the information about the website, you know?
Okay. Rafael, where are you planning to go?
Sorry.
I am planning to the Caribbean.
Okay. I am planning to the Caribbean in a cruiser.
Okay, in a cruise. Okay.
Cruise.
And what's the hotel like?
Okay. The hotel was very nice.
Yeah.
Don't have information in the front line.
And
Sorry.
how long is the journey?
This is for 2 weeks.
Okay. Thank you very much. Say bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, let's continue with the, okay, next couple. I'm going to choose 2 people now. For example, it can be Fernando Paul and Edmi Cavalotti. Okay, Fernando, you are Mark and you are planning to go to this Caribbean place. And Edmi, you are going to ask these 3 questions.
Okay, teacher. Ready?
Yes, Fernando is the other person.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Fernando, where are you planning to go?
I'm planning to Caribbean.
Okay.
Okay. What's the hotel like?
The service, the food, a comfortable, and this luxury.
Okay.
Okay. And how long is the journey?
For 1 week.
Okay.
Thanks for information.
Enjoy your trip. Enjoy your holiday, right?
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to ask now, Jaciel is going to be Mark and Jocelyn Tatiana is going to be the Rosa and Mark's friend.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, Tatiana, you can ask Jaciel these 3 questions.
Yes.
Yes, teacher. Where are you planning to go?
Okay, Tatiana. Jocelyn? Okay, the exercise number 3 says, unfortunately, Mark and Rose's holiday was awful. Listen to part number 1 and make a list of problems Mark and Rosa had. Okay, in your notebooks, you are going to take what problems do they have? Maybe with the weather, at the airport, during the flight, and other things. You have to take some notes about this problem. You're going to listen this part now.
Module 6, Recording 3. Part 1. So, anyway, we decided to have a really good holiday, a dream holiday in the Caribbean, because we'd always wanted to go there. So we saved our money up for months and months and booked this holiday in a place called San Antonio. It cost over £1,000 each, but we wanted to do something really special. So we booked it for 2 weeks in May, because all the brochures said that the weather's beautiful there in May.
We were flying from Gatwick Airport, and the flight was overnight, leaving Gatwick late at night, and arriving in San Antonio the next morning. Well, that was the idea anyway. But when we arrived at the airport, they told us that because of bad weather in the Caribbean, the flight was delayed until the next morning. So we had to spend the night at the airport, sleeping on the floor, and we finally got on the plane the next morning, 12 hours late.
But that was just the beginning. On the plane, they told us that the bad weather over the Caribbean was actually a hurricane, Hurricane George, and that we couldn't fly to San Antonio. We had to go to the capital city instead and stay in a hotel there for the night until the hurricane passed. Anyway, we weren't too worried. We thought, well, it's only one night. And they told us that we were going to a 5-star hotel next to the beach with a swimming pool. So we were quite happy at that point.
Okay, do you know what are the problems that they had at the airport, for example?
Yes, because of the bad weather, their flight were delayed.
Yes, the flight was delayed. Excellent, Aimee. Something else?
Was delayed 20 hours.
12 hours late.
Okay, 12 hours. The question is, where did they sleep?
They spent the night in the airport.
Yeah, sleeping where?
They sleep
in the floor.
On the floor, right? On the floor, like the picture that I show you. And something else? What other problems do they have?
Yeah. There was an Hurricane George in San Antonio.
Yes, and for that reason, they couldn't fly because they have to wait. And they went to a hotel. And how was the hotel? It was they told them for example, do you know that when there are some problems with the flights, the people in the airport decided to carry you to a hotel, and they told them that the hotel was 5 stars, and they were going to the 5 stars hotel, and then they stopped. What about the next part says, what do you think happened next? Listen to part 2 and make a note of the problems they had. For example, what problems do they have when they arrive in the Caribbean? What problems with the hotel swimming pool, with the food at the hotel itself, with the weather, and with the sea? Let's go to listen next part.
Module 6, Recording 4, Part 2.
Anyway, we arrived at the hotel, The Hotel Paradiso, it was called.
Paradiso.
What a joke. They said it was a 5-star hotel, but I wouldn't give it 1 star. It was just awful. I don't know how to describe it. It was an awful building. Yes, it was next to the sea, but it wasn't a beach, just a few rocks, and the sea was so dirty you couldn't swim in it. There were big ships traveling past, and the sea was all polluted and brown. It looked horrible.
So we went to look at the swimming pool, but that was no better. It wasn't a nice blue colour like you'd expect. It was a sort of greeny black colour. And as we looked at it, we could see things moving about in it. And we looked more closely and we realised it was full of frogs. There were hundreds and hundreds of frogs in it. So, after that, obviously we didn't use it.
And then there was the food. Do you remember the food?
Oh, I'll never forget it. The first morning, we went downstairs for breakfast, expecting to have, you know, the usual things you get in hotels. Bread, marmalade, fruit, coffee. And we were very surprised instead to see lots of different types of vegetables. Carrots, peas, cabbage, and a big bowl of lettuce. But anyway, I was really, really hungry, so I decided to have some of the lettuce until I saw that it was moving. The leaves of lettuce were slowly moving around the bowl, and I looked a bit more closely and saw that the lettuce bowl was full of ants, hundreds of them, and there were so many that they were actually moving the lettuce leaves. After that, we didn't eat in the hotel again. We didn't want to.
The worst part, though, was when the hurricane arrived. That was really frightening. It was a 15-story hotel, so you felt really terrified with all that wind and rain and the windows banging and the trees crashing outside. It was terrible.
And then they told us that because of the hurricane, there were no flights to San Antonio and that we had to stay there for another 3 days. 3 more days in that place. There was nothing to do, nowhere to go. We couldn't eat the food. It was noisy and dirty. We just couldn't believe that it could happen.
So when we finally arrived in San Antonio, we were 5 days late. And the worst thing was that Hurricane George had never arrived there. The weather had been perfect in San Antonio all the time.
Okay, what was the problem? What were the problems that they faced in the Caribbean when they arrived?
No, in San Antonio.
Yeah, in San Antonio. What was the problem?
They arrived 5 days late.
Yes, they arrived 5 days late in San Antonio, right? But
the weather too.
Yeah, the problems that they. What about the food at the hotel, for example?
They were a lot of vegetables and there were ants in their food.
Yeah. And what about the swimming pool? It was blue. What color was the hotel?
It was greeny black color.
Yes.
And there were frogs.
Yes, many frogs in the hotel. What about the hotel itself? It was a 5-star hotel.
No. It was an awful building next to the sea, and the sea was dirty.
What was the name of the hotel?
Paradiso.
Yeah.
Paradiso.
Paradiso, right?
Paradise.
Paradiso. And what about the weather? It was good, or what was the problem?
Every day raining.
Every day raining.
And the hurricane
in San Antonio.
And the hurricane was coming to this place and it was terrible. And what happened with the sea? It was beautiful, the sea?
No, it was
No,
dirty.
much rocks.
Yes, a lot of rocks. No places
Pollution.
for enter there. Okay, here we have some problems. For example, at the airport, the flight was delayed because of what weather. Mara and Rosa had to spend a night at the airport sleeping on the floor. During the flight, they were told that there was a hurricane at their destination, so they had to fly to the capital city instead. When they arrived in the Caribbean, they had to go to the capital city. Mark and Rosa were told it was for just one night, but because of the hurricane, there were no flights to San Antonio. So they had to stay there for another 3 nights. At the hotel itself, it was awful, noisy, and dirty. There was nothing to do. With the hotel swimming pool, it was a greeny black color and it was full of frogs. And with the weather, the hurricane arrived, and so it was very windy and rainy. Mark and Rosa were terrified by the sound of the windows banging and the trees crashing in the wind. With the food at the hotel, instead of a typical breakfast, they had vegetables and salad. There were hundreds of ants in the bowl of lettuce. Mark and Rosa didn't eat at the hotel again. With the sea, there wasn't a beach, just some rocks, because there were big ships traveling past. The sea was polluted and brown, and it was too dirty to swim in. Okay, exercise number 4. Go. Exercise number 4. You have to complete as many gaps as you can to tell the story of Mark and Rosa's holiday. Oh, this is not correct. To can tell, as you can tell. This too is incorrect. Cross. Borren ese tú, está mal. Complete as many gaps as you can tell story of Mark and Rosa's holiday. Then listen again to check. For example, Mark and Rosa saved up for dream holiday at a place called San Antonio in the Caribbean. But the dream was more like a nightmare. The holiday cost over, how much do you think it was the cost?
Expensive.
Yeah, expensive. But how much was it?
$3,000.
Many. Do you remember something of this or not?
No.
Okay, we're going to try to listen again, the part 1 and the part 2. Okay, go to your books. I'm going to put the recording again, and you have to complete this part.
Module 6, Recording 3. Part 1. So, anyway, we decided to have a really good holiday, a dream holiday in the Caribbean, because we'd always wanted to go there. So we saved our money up for months and months and booked this holiday in a place called San Antonio. It cost over £1,000 each, but we wanted to...
Okay, £1,000. £1,000 each. £1,000 each, right? Good.
Module 6, Recording 3. Part 1. So, anyway, we decided to have a really good holiday, a dream holiday in the Caribbean, because we'd always wanted to go there. So we saved our money up for months and months and booked this holiday in a place called San Antonio. It cost £1,000 each, but we wanted to do something really special. So we booked it for 2 weeks in May because all the brochures said that the weather's beautiful there in May.
We were flying from Gatwick Airport, and the flight was overnight, leaving Gatwick late at night, and arriving in San Antonio the next morning. Well, that was the idea anyway. But when we arrived at the airport, they told us that because of bad weather in the Caribbean, the flight was delayed until the next morning. So we had to spend the night at the airport, sleeping on the floor, and we finally got on the plane the next morning, 12 hours late.
But that was just the beginning. On the plane, they told us that the bad weather over the Caribbean was actually a hurricane, Hurricane George, and that we couldn't fly to San Antonio. We had to go to the capital city instead and stay in a hotel there for the night until the hurricane passed. Anyway, we weren't too worried. We thought, well, it's only one night. And they told us that we were going to a 5-star hotel next to the beach with a swimming pool. So we were quite happy at that point.
Okay, let's go to the second part.
Module 6, Recording 4, Part 2.
Anyway, we arrived at the hotel. The Hotel Paradiso, it was called. What a joke. They said it was a 5-star hotel, but I wouldn't give it 1 star. It was just awful. I don't know how to describe it. It was an awful building. Yes, it was next to the sea, but it wasn't a beach, just a few rocks, and the sea was so dirty you couldn't swim in it. There were big ships traveling past, and the sea was all polluted and brown. It looked horrible.
So we went to look at the swimming pool, but that was no better. It wasn't a nice blue colour like you'd expect. It was a sort of greeny black colour. And as we looked at it, we could see things moving about in it. And we looked more closely and we realised it was full of frogs. There were hundreds and hundreds of frogs in it. So, after that, obviously we didn't use it.
And then there was the food. Do you remember the food?
Oh, I'll never forget it. The first morning, we went downstairs for breakfast, expecting to have, you know, the usual things you get in hotels. Bread, marmalade, fruit, coffee. And we were very surprised instead to see lots of different types of vegetables. Carrots, peas, cabbage, and a big bowl of lettuce. But anyway, I was really, really hungry, so I decided to have some of the lettuce until I saw that it was moving. The leaves of lettuce were slowly moving around the bowl, and I looked a bit more closely and saw that the lettuce bowl was full of ants, hundreds of them. And there were so many that they were actually moving the lettuce leaves. After that, we didn't eat in the hotel again. We didn't want to.
The worst part, though, was when the hurricane arrived. That was really frightening. It was a 15-story hotel, so you felt really terrified with all that wind and rain and the windows banging and the trees crashing outside. It was terrible.
And then they told us that because of the hurricane, there were no flights to San Antonio and that we had to stay there for another 3 days. 3 more days in that place. There was nothing to do, nowhere to go. We couldn't eat the food. It was noisy and dirty. We just couldn't believe that it could happen.
So when we finally arrived in San Antonio, we were 5 days late. And the worst thing was that Hurricane George had never arrived there. The weather had been perfect in San Antonio all the time.
Okay, let's go to check the answers with you. Okay, the results is like this. Okay, the holiday cost over £1,000 each, but they decided to go for 2 weeks in the month May, because they heard that the weather was beautiful there at that time. The problems began when the flight was delayed because of the bad weather and they couldn't leave until the next morning. They finally got on the plane 12 hours late, then they couldn't fly to San Antonio because there was a hurricane and they had to fly to the capital city instead, where they stayed in a 5-star hotel next to the sea. The hotel was next to the sea, but it wasn't near a beach. The sea was so dirty you couldn't swim in it, and the hotel swimming pool was full of frogs. To make things worse, the food was terrible too. For breakfast, there were only different types of vegetables, and the lettuce bowl was full of ants. The worst part was when the hurricane arrived. They felt really terrified because of the wind and rain. Because of the weather, they had to stay another 3 days in the hotel with nothing to do. They finally arrived in San Antonio 5 days late, and someone told them that the weather had been perfect all the time. Okay, we're going to stop here